We choose screen number 1. Okay, let it be screen number 1. And then and we can open our slides. So here it is. Okay. So we need to wait a little bit. Okay. Антон. Well, and so as you can see, the presentation that we are going to speak about today, it's called the Mothers of Invention. You know, the word invent, изобретать, invention, this is a noun. And these are mothers who invented something. This is 7D in the New English file in the book. And as you see, we usually start with error correction. And you remember that you were given 2 tasks. One of them was grammar task. And the task was to use such phrases as used to, didn't used to, and so on. So let us have a look at the sentence which one of the students wrote in the paper. So the sentence sounds like, when I was a child, I have used to eat meat, but I eat it.
Извиняюсь, я never, R в конце не дописал, и вы прочитали как have.
But that's it's interesting. Maybe you've shared your paper with other students, because this is not the only paper that I've met this variant, because the other students, yes, the other students also just wrote such a sentence. Okay, so Ilham, what is the correct version of this?
When I was a child, I never used to eat meat, but I eat now.
I never used to eat meat. Yes, okay. And in the next sentence, we have the question, what games did you used to play when you were a child? What is wrong here? There is
Did you use?
Use должно быть.
Use должно.
No ed, yes. So no d at the end of use, because it goes into did. Окончание вот это ed переходит в did, во вспомогательный глагол. Did you use to play? Used to play, okay? And if we have a look at the next slide, so here I liked, this is the information about your video. I liked your video very much, because that were true, sincere stories about your school experience. I would like to pay attention to some details here. So in the first sentence, there were a lot of mistake like this, and that was a surprise. The students say, I used to didn't like history. So it doesn't sound like English. То есть я обычно не любил историю, да, вот так вот у нас по-русски мы говорим. И получается, что вот это вот калька с русского языка, used to обычно раньше не любил историю. It's not English. We can't say used to didn't like. We should say, what is the correct version? Как здесь правильно сказать? Я обычно не любил историю.
I didn't used to like history.
Yes, I didn't used to like history, yes. Okay, so the second line here is about history. So I've heard, I didn't like him very much. Who is he?
Like
Кто? It, yes, because history is not a human being. Это не человек, поэтому это неодушевленное существительное. It должно быть с местоимением. And one more, the same structure. I used to didn't like school uniform. What is the correct version? Правильно, как сказать?
I didn't use to.
Yes, I didn't used to like school uniform. And about pronunciation. So I always say that if you are not sure about the pronunciation of a certain word, it's just a couple of clicks and you know this, yes? You can check it in Google Translate, for example. So how can we read these words? Medina, will you read them?
Lyceum, geometry, geography, literature.
Yes, geometry, geography, literature is all right. Lyceum, we usually say lyceum. Well, and I mean that we studied geometry, geography, literature. So during the class, and you should just pay attention to how you pronounce these words. Okay, you see, you could see your just score on Moodle site, and so actually I like it. But I didn't. Some students didn't place the video. Почему не все видео сделали? What was the problem? В чем проблема у тех, кто не сделал? No reply. Okay, so anyway, if you do not just do the task, you don't get your score. То есть баллы нужно зарабатывать. So, and let's go back to our mothers of invention. We are going to speak about things which were invented by women. So look at the photos. 5 of these things were invented by women. Which ones? So we can see the dishwasher, Tipex.
Откуда они взялись?
Can you guess? The washing machine, nylon stockings.
Tipex, maybe.
Okay.
Disposable nappies. Правильно читается?
Yes, nappies, disposable nappies. Disposable одноразовые, да? Вот тут немножко другой образ. Disposable сменные. По-английски, по-русски
Windscreen wipers.
Windscreen wipers, дворники.
Bulletproof vest.
So you are just laughing at this. Bulletproof vest. What's the Russian for this?
Бронежилет.
Бронежилет, yes.
And the bureau. Или бюро.
The bureau. The bureau. Do we understand what the bureau is?
Именно шариковая ручка, типа?
Именно шариковая, именно шарик, вот, который на кончике ручки. Okay.
The vacuum cleaner. Maybe.
I see, maybe. Okay, you've made your choice. I mean, Ilham just was brave enough to speak about this. And let us move to the next slide. And so here we are going to listen to a radio program about inventions, and we should complete the sentences with the invention. Inventions like these inventions, which are mentioned here, under each picture, do you remember them? So the windscreen wipers, for example, disposable nappies, the bulletproof vest, the vacuum cleaner. Okay, and so 5 of them we should just place at the beginning of each sentence. Now, so we can see here in this sentence the structure was invented or were invented, and we can see the name of a person who made this invention and the date when it was done. And let us listen to the radio program, and you'll say if you hear or not. Скажите мне, слышно или нет?
Нет.
Слышно? Не слышно.
Нет.
А вот сейчас слышно, это звук у вас от динамика или это проигрывается?
Я с компьютера включила.
7.11.
А, вот слышно.
Good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of Science Today. In today's program, we're going to hear about women inventors. When we think of famous inventors, we usually think of men. People like Alexander Graham Bell, Guglielmo Marconi, Thomas Edison. But as Sally will tell us, many of the things which make our lives easier today were invented by women.
That's absolutely right. Let's take the dishwasher, for example. This was invented by a woman called Josephine Cochrane in 1886. She was a rich American who gave a lot of dinner parties, but she was annoyed that her servants used to break plates and glasses when they were washing them after the party. So Josephine decided to try and invent a machine which could wash a lot of plates and glasses safely. Today, the dishwasher is used by millions of people all over the world. The car was invented by a man, but it was a woman, Mary Anderson, who in 1903 solved one of the biggest problems of driving. Until her invention, it was impossible for drivers to see where they were going when it was raining or snowing. The name of her invention? Windscreen wipers. A fantastic invention that definitely improved the lives of millions of people was disposable nappies. They were invented by a woman called Marion Donovan in 1950. Anybody who has a small baby will know what a big difference disposable nappies make to our lives. Today, more than 55 million nappies are used every day in the world. A few years later, in 1956, Betty Nesmith Graham was working as a secretary. She used to get very frustrated and angry when she made typing mistakes. In those days, if you made a mistake, you had to get a new sheet of paper and start again from the beginning. She had a brilliant idea, which was to use a white liquid to paint over mistakes. Her invention is called Tipp-Ex today. Mrs. Graham was a divorced mother, and her invention made her a very rich woman. And finally, policemen, soldiers, and politicians all over the world are protected by something which was invented by a woman. In 1966, Stephanie Kvolek invented Kevlar, a special material which was very light but incredibly strong, much stronger than metal. This material is used to make the bulletproof vest. Her invention has probably saved thousands of lives.
Thanks very much, Sally. So, if you thought that everything was invented by men, think again.
Okay. Do you understand everything?
Yes. 3
Medina.
out of 5.
Okay, 3 out of 5. Medina, what do you think of the first sentence?
Dishwashers was invented by Josephine Cochrane in 1886.
Okay, Ilham, the second one.
Window... Как это? Дворник, еще раз.
Windscreen.
Windscreen wipers, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Were invented by Mary Anderson in 1903.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Daniel. Do you understand sentence number 3?
Можно предыдущий слайд?
Okay. Yes.
Disposable nappies.
Disposable nappies.
Invented by Marion Donovan in 1950.
Okay, so Anton, the next one. Sentence number 4. Do you need to look at this slide, Anton?
Я не понял именно.
Не понял. So, who can help us?
Typex.
Typex. Anton, read the sentence.
Typex was invented by Bette Nesmith Garham in 1956.
Okay, Rodion, the last one, number 5.
Nylon stocking was invented by Stephanie Collick in 1986.
Well, it sounds like men is speaking about this. No, not nylon stockings. Nylon stockings were invented by men, not women. So what about sentence number 5? Stephanie Kwolek, what did she invent? She invented some specific kind of material. And this is the name of the material. What is it?
Kevlar.
Kevlar, yeah. And Kevlar is used in what kind of dressing? Or not dressing, just what kind of things that people just put on? Yes, Ilham, what is
The
it?
bulletproof vest.
So, yes, it was invented by Stephanie Kwolek in 1966. Okay, so it's interesting. And so if you move to the next slide, so here we have actually the text of just the radio program, and we are going to listen it for the second time and clear out some details and pay attention to the words, which maybe we don't understand. And so I'm going to switch on one more time and you'll tell if you hear or not. Слышно? Слышно?
Нет, не слышно.
Не слышно? Почему это не слышно? Должно быть слышно. Так, давайте попробуем еще раз тогда. Угу. Так, сделать. Как мы это делаем? Отсюда выходим. Так, и опять. Поделиться содержимым. Добавить звук. Так, видно слайд?
Yes.
Okay, now you say if you hear the sound.
7.11.
Okay?
Yes.
Good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of Science Today. In today's program, we're going to hear about women inventors. When we think of famous inventors, we usually think of men, people like Alexander Graham Bell, Guglielmo Marconi, Thomas Edison. But as Sally will tell us, many of the things which make our lives easier today were invented by women.
That's absolutely right. Let's take the dishwasher, for example. This was invented by a woman called Josephine Cochrane in 1886. She was a rich American who gave a lot of dinner parties, but she was annoyed that her servants used to break plates and glasses when they were washing them after the party. So Josephine decided to try and invent a machine which could wash a lot of plates and glasses safely. Today, the dishwasher is used by millions of people all over the world. The car was invented by a man, but it was a woman, Mary Anderson, who in 1903 solved one of the biggest problems of driving. Until her invention, it was impossible for drivers to see where they were going when it was raining or snowing. The name of her invention? Windscreen wipers. A fantastic invention that definitely improved the lives of millions of people was disposable nappies. They were invented by a woman called Marion Donovan in 1950. Anybody who has a small baby will know what a big difference disposable nappies make to our lives. Today, more than 55 million nappies are used every day in the world. A few years later, in 1956, Betty Nesmith Graham was working as a secretary. She used to get very frustrated and angry when she made typing mistakes. In those days, if you made a mistake, you had to get a new sheet of paper and start again from the beginning. She had a brilliant idea, which was to use a white liquid to paint over mistakes. Her invention is called Tipp-Ex today. Mrs. Graham was a divorced mother, and her invention made her a very rich woman. And finally, policemen, soldiers, and politicians all over the world are protected by something which was invented by a woman. In 1966, Stephanie Kwolek invented Kevlar, a special material which was very light but incredibly strong, much stronger than metal. This material is used to make the bulletproof vest. Her invention has probably saved thousands of lives.
Thanks very much, Sally. So, if you thought that everything was invented by men, think again.
Okay, so you can see some words they are highlighted in blue about the first invention, which was mentioned, Josephine Cochrane. So she was annoyed that her servants used to break plates and glasses. To annoy, to irritate, раздражаться, да, ее раздражало, что servants are people who help around the house to do some household chores. Слуги, да, потому что это было в начале века, yes. And so ее раздражало, что слуги обычно били посуду, и она изобрела машину. Okay? Then there is a word improved. Invention that definitely improved our lives, которая определенно to improve, make better. Yes?
Улучшать.
Yes, улучшать. Улучшила жизни миллионов людей. Disposable nappies. By the way, what's the Russian for disposable nappy?
Pampers.
Pampers. Yes, it's interesting that this is the name of the brand which produces disposable nappies. And just the name of the brand is used to...
Это как с ксероксом?
Как с ксероксом, да. То есть название бренда, оно закрепило за этим словом. Или как американцы говорят, Hoover – это пылесос. Они не говорят vacuum cleaner, они говорят Hoover. Это название бренда, который пылесосы начал производить. Okay. And so the next is in the middle column, frustrated. Значит, отсылает нас к Фрейду. Фрустрация – это что? Frustrated. Недовольство какое-то, да? So feeling not comfortable. То есть она была очень недовольна и рассержена. This is typing mistakes. Какие ошибки?
Ну, как это? Типа, когда пишешь?
Ну, да, когда пишешь, когда печатаешь, да. Окей. Опечатки, получается, да, typing mistakes. Okay, and then there is a liquid of paint. Liquid to paint over mistakes. Yes, белая жидкость, чтобы закрашивать ошибки. So then about the Kevlar, this is are protected by something. Protect, да, защищаются тем, что было изобретено женщиной. This is bulletproof vest. This is, you know, бронежилет. Okay, and so as far as we've just listened and read the information, we can go deeper into the details. And if we move to the next slide, we can see some questions. Let us listen to Drugali. The first question is for you.
What happened after Josephine Catherine's dinner parties? She was annoyed that her servant, дальше не помню.
Servants, what did the servants do?
Break. И все
What?
дальше не помню дальше.
What did they break? What did they break? So after the parties, what did they break? Have a look. Nurgali.
Plates and glasses when
Yes.
they were washing them.
Yes, yes. So servants used to break plates and glasses. Okay. And so what did Josephine Cochrane decide to do? Margali, what did she decide to do?
She decided to make a dishwasher.
Yes. To invent a machine which will wash the dishes. Okay. So, Medina, what about question 2 here? Read it, please.
What was the problem with cars in 1903 when it rained or snowed? Until 1903, drivers couldn't see where they were going when it was raining or snowing.
Yes, because of rain and snow just on the windscreen. Okay, so the next sentence, Ilham, please.
How many disposable nappies are used every day?
Do you remember?
No, did it tell? I can't remember.
Well, let us have a look. Yes, it tells.
Where?
In the middle column. Have a look and find this information. So if you scan the text, you should write, you should find a number.
55 million?
Yes. Are used every day in the world. Okay. So the next is for the Niyar.
What was Vietnamese Graham was working as a secretary.
Yes, yes. She used to type a lot of papers. That is why she invented this liquid to paint over the mistakes. Okay, Anton, number 5, please.
What was special about the material Stefan Knowles invented?
Что особенного было в материале, который она изобрела? So, what does the story say about this?
So if
what does it say about the material?
Invented a special material which was very light but incredibly strong, much stronger than metal.
Yes, exactly.
Used to
Yes.
make a bulletproof vest.
Yes, you're right. So light but stronger than metal. Okay. So the question is, which of the 5 inventions do you think are the most important? Which inventions are the most important?
Wind. Я опять забыл, как дворники будут.
Сейчас посмотрим. Yes, here it is.
Wipers, да. Windscreen wipers.
Windscreen wipers, you
Yeah,
think?
windscreen wipers, yes.
Okay. Okay. So any other ideas? Medina, what do you think?
The bulletproof vest.
Yes, it saved a lot of lives. For me, the washing machine is great because it saves time. And disposable nappies are also good, just for those people who have babies. Okay. And if we move to the next slide. So in all these stories, we heard that some verbs were used in the so-called passive voice. Некоторые глаголы были использованы в страдательном залоге. So let us focus on passive voice. And so this is like the passive voice verbs are given in the middle column. And let us make 5 true sentences using the words in the chart. I mean, you should use one of the phrases in each column to make up a true sentence. For example, the dishwasher was invented by an American woman. Do you see? So, Rodion, make the sentence about disposable nappies, please.
Disposable nappies were invented. No, disposable nappies are used every day.
Are used every day. Okay. So, Nurgali?
More than 55 million nappies are used every day.
Okay, so it's better to, in the previous sentence, to use another phrase, disposable nappies. What is a different version? Как еще можно по-другому сказать, Родион? Были изобретены, да? Родион, disposable nappies were invented.
Were invented by Mary and Donald.
Okay. So the sentence about Mrs. Graham invention is for Medina.
Mrs. Graham invention is called Tipex today.
Great. And the last sentence is for Ilham.
Policemen are all over the world are protected by the bulletproof vests.
Yes, right. And you can see the forms of the passive voice is called, was invented. All the verbs here are used in the third form, в третьей форме. As far as their regular verbs, это здесь у нас встретились правильные глаголы, окончание ed. Но это третья форма. And before them, in the passive voice, what is used before them? Что используется перед ними? Yes, the verb to be in different forms. В различных формах в зависимости от времени, к которому относится это действие. So, here we have the information about the passive voice and a couple of sentences that illustrate the passive voice, this grammar. So one of them says, an American woman invented the dishwasher. And B sentence says, the dishwasher was invented by an American woman. The question is, do the sentences have the same meaning?
Yes.
Okay. Do the sentences have the same emphasis? Emphasis выделение смысла, ударение какое-то. The emphasis in the first sentence.
Нет, разные.
Yes, different. The emphasis in the first sentence is on
Dishwasher.
in dishwasher. No, on the inventor. Inventor, то есть здесь главное то, что именно
Почему?
женщина.
Американка изобрела что? Посудомойку.
Ну так это же американка изобрела, а не это. Мы говорим, что именно американка изобрела. а не какой-то мужчина там, изобретатель.
Ну, тут как посмотреть, по идее.
Yes, it depends on the context, but we usually say that if it is, if we compare anyway with the next sentence, если мы сравним со следующим предложением, the dishwasher was invented by an American woman. Ну,
Кем была изобретена посудомойка? Тут же акцент идет на то, кем была изобретена.
Ну, да, здесь без контекста непонятно, но если, например, в центре внимания у нас dishwasher, то, наверное, мы используем вот именно второе предложение и рассказываем об этом объекте, да? Ну, в всяком случае, мы должны понимать, что это такое. And the question is, which sentence is in the passive voice? B sentence, yes. This is the verb was invented, была изобретена. Okay. And here on the next slide we can see the form of the passive voice, how the passive voice is formed. So as we already see, we use, it consists of two parts at least. And first we use the verb to be plus the main verb in the third form if it is irregular, or with ed ending if it is regular. Используется вспомогательный глагол to be в соответствующей форме и смысловой глагол, если это правильный глагол, то добавляется ed. Если это неправильный глагол, используется третья форма. So here we can see the present, the simple passive, and the past simple passive. And the present is used when we speak about something in the present. То, что над каким-то объектом производится какое-то действие. So risotto is made with rice. Risotto делается из риса обычно. This is the affirmative sentence. Or these offices are cleaned every morning. То есть эти кабинеты убираются каждое утро. And you can see the verb to be has the form is or are. Вот форма глагола to be в настоящем времени. Ну и made, this is irregular verb in the third form, and cleaned regular verb in with ed. As for negative sentences, отрицательные предложения, we add not to the verb to be. Добавляется частица not к глаголу to be. It isn't made with pasta. Это не сделано из макарон. Or they aren't cleaned on Saturdays. Они не убираются по субботам. Okay? Кабинет имеется в виду. And the question is also made, we move the verb to be to the first place, to the place before the subject. Вспомогательный глагол to be перемещается на место перед подлежащим. Is it made with meat? Or are they cleaned on Sundays? As for the past simple passive, we use the verb to be in the past simple. То есть глагол to be уже в прошедшем времени. So affirmative sentences. Guernica was painted by Picasso. Картина Герника была написана Пикассо. Or the pyramids were built by the Egyptians. Пирамиды были построены египтянами. And you can see the verb to be has the form was and were. То есть уже глагол to be используется в прошедшем времени. А смысловой глагол, основной глагол, также используется в третьей форме. Painted or built. Build, build, build. So, and negative sentences in the past simple passive. It wasn't painted by Dali, or they weren't built by the Greeks. And the questions. So the questions, then we can see the question word. It starts with the question word, and then we should use the verb to be. When was it painted? And why were they built? Okay. And one more sentence, a couple of sentences, just which also illustrate the difference in the use of active and passive voice. То есть здесь вот предложение в действительном и страдательном залоге. Alfred Nobel invented dynamite. Изобрел динамит. Dynamite was invented by Alfred Nobel. Passive voice. And pay attention to the use of preposition by. То есть, когда мы говорим о том, кто это действие выполнил в страдательном залоге, используется предлог by, like here. But sometimes the person who has done this is not mentioned. Но иногда просто не упоминается это человек, который выполнил это действие, потому что основное внимание на том, что что-то было сделано. Okay, and so let us have a look at the sentences here on this slide, and the task is to complete the sentences with the present or past form of the verbs in the passive voice. So the verbs are given in brackets at the end of the sentence, and the example says we should use complete, and we should choose between present and past. Нам нужно подумать, какое в настоящем времени страдательный залог или в прошедшем. So, and the sentence says the Eiffel Tower was completed in 1889. Эйфелева башня была закончена вот в этом году. As far as this is about past events, we should use past simple passive. So let us listen to Medina. The first sentence, please.
Many of the things we use every day were invented by women.
Yes, good. So Wilhelm.
In the UK, most children were educated in state schools.
Do you think...
Oh,
are educated, yes, are educated. Because this is about the general situation. It's true now, it was true in the past, and it will be the same in the future. Okay, the next sentence, Daniel, please.
DNA are discovered by what's meant Greek in 1953.
DNA is desoxyribonucleic acid, right?
Yes.
DNK. Is it singular or plural? В каком числе? В единственном или во множественном здесь использовано это слово? Единственном. Так, поэтому is it were discovered or глагол to be в какой форме? Наверное, не were discovered, а кто подскажет?
Was
discovered. Хотя изобрели и два человека, но объект один, то есть вот эта ДНК была изобретена. Was discovered. Okay, so the next one is for Anton.
Антон, у тебя микрофон включен, если что.
Антон.
И тебе отвечать.
Тебе же отвечать, Антон.
Ой, простите.
Так. Number 4.
This morning I'm wake. Как в третье лицо сделать его?
Wake, woke, woken.
Спасибо. Woke up by the neighbor's dog.
Ну, смотрите-ка, это вы сказали, что вы разбудили соседских собак. А вам нужно сказать, что вы были разбужены соседскими собаками? Значит, вот у нас passive voice как глагол to be в какой-то форме. В настоящем или прошедшем?
Так, тогда this morning I разбужен. Wake.
Третья форма woken up.
This morning I woken up by the neighbor's dog.
Нет, еще не хватает у нас глагола to be. Вот смотрите, в табличке вот у нас Герника was painted. Вот у нас глагола to be в прошедшем времени не хватает. I was woken up by the neighbor's dog. То есть вот в чем разница, да, между active voice и passive voice. Обязательно нужно еще использовать глагол to be. Я был разбужен. Здесь, я думаю, проблем не должно быть, поскольку по-русски мы тоже говорим я разбудил или я был разбужен. Разные вещи, да? Okay, so the next is for Rodion. Number 5, please.
Cricket is played in the summer in the UK.
Yes, this is general thing. В него играют в крикет. So, Nurgali, please.
The songs on this album were written last year.
Yes, songs were written. Good. So, Medina, number 7.
Millions of toys are made in China every year.
Good. Ilham, number 8.
Carols are song which is sung, как song, да?
Sing, song.
Sung at Christmas.
Carols, this is a plural form.
Carols это что? Это название или что это?
Да, здесь дается определение. Carols — это песни, которые поются на Рождество.
Это множественное, типа, да?
Ну, конечно, вы видите.
Я думал, это просто название какое-то Carols.
Ну, опять, songs,
да, are.
Okay, are sung, okay, at Christmas.
At Christmas,
yes. Yes, the next is for the year.
The birds are not usually seen in Northern Europe.
Так, третья форма глагола see, как звучит? See, so, вторая, третья, seen. These birds aren't usually seen in Northern Europe. Этих птичек обычно нельзя увидеть на севере Европы. Okay, and so Anton, number 10.
The London Eye was opened. Was opened on 51 December 1999 to celebrate the new millennium.
Do we know what the London Eye is? What is it? Что это такое, the London Eye?
Big Ben?
Нет. London Eye — это большое такое колесо обозрения, которое, кстати, рядом с Биг Беном находится, на другом берегу реки Темзы, напротив Биг Бена. Это колесо обозрения было открыто вот тогда, что как отпраздновать наступление нового тысячелетия. Okay, it's very big. It's called the London Eye. So sometimes people say that passive voice is rather complicated. And this is the mem which says when you are studying passive voice, it means it's not easy. And let us have a look at the next slide. Here the task is to rewrite the sentences in the passive, beginning with the highlighted words, начиная с слова, которое отмечено. It means that we change the structure of the sentence. Меняется структура предложения, and the word which was the object in the sentence, we make it a subject of the sentence. То есть вот в предложении, где используется действительный залог, active voice, у нас есть дополнение, которое мы перемещаем на место подлежащего, и тогда глагол уже будет в passive voice, в страдательном залоге. The example says, Shakespeare wrote Hamlet in 1603. Шекспир написал Гамлета. And in the next sentence, we place Hamlet at the beginning. Hamlet was written by Shakespeare in 1603. Гамлет был написан Шекспиром. То есть, и поэтому глагол меняет свою форму на форму страдательного залога. Was written. Okay, so let us listen to Rodion. Sentence number 1 is for you.
Christopher Wren designed St. Paul's Cathedral. St. Paul's Cathedral was designed by Christopher Wren.
Exactly. Okay. So the next one is for Nurgali.
A small Italian company produced this olive oil. Olive oil was produced by a small Italian company.
Okay, it's possible to use a past simple passive, but look, the active voice sentence verb is used in the present simple. Produces. What if we use the passive voice present? Давайте попробуем использовать настоящее время.
Olive oil.
Yes.
Are produced.
Is produced.
Is produced by a small Italian company.
Yes, because oil is uncountable. Это неисчисляемое существительное, оно не может быть во множественном числе, поэтому мы говорим is produced. Good. So the next is for Medina.
The Russians discovered Antarctica in 1820. In 1820, Antarctica was discovered by Russians.
Okay, it's possible to use this order of words as you place the date at the beginning of the sentence, but normally the dates, the adverbial modifier of time are used at the end of the sentence. То есть обычно дата у нас, когда произошло действие, в конце предложения ставится. Okay, so the next is for Ilham.
Spielberg didn't direct the Star Wars films. The Star Wars films wasn't directed by Spielberg.
Films.
Films weren't.
Weren't directed.
Weren't,
okay. Yes. The next is for Daniyar.
Van Gogh painted sunflowers in 1888.
Okay.
Sunflowers were painted by Van Gogh in 1888.
88, yes. Sunflowers, знаменитая картина «Подсолнухи» Ван Гога. Okay, so Anton, the next one is for you.
That the Chinese didn't invent glass. Glass aren't invented
by the Chinese. Хотя здесь заканчивается слово glass на s, но это не множественное число. Это glass, стекло. Это такое название вещества. В данном случае оно неисчисляемое, поэтому должен быть, форма глагола должна быть в единственном числе. So, glass было изобретено. Was invented by the Chinese. Do you see? Okay, Rodion, please. The next one, number 7.
They make Skoda cars in the Czech Republic. Skoda cars. They made Skoda cars was made in the Czech Republic.
They make. Do they make it now or in the past? Now. Yes. So we should use present simple passive. Skoda cars.
Skoda cars.
Производятся.
Is made
Множественное число.
Are made in the Czech Republic.
In the Czech Republic. Yes,
Czech Republic.
yes, and we've missed number 7. Let us listen to Nurkali.
Written by Jacqueline Rowling.
Yes,
Joanne
yes.
Rowling.
J.K. Rowling. Okay, were written. You're right. Okay, so no problem. So I think it's not easy, not so hard to understand the passive voice. And now one more thing we need to do is to read some more information about different kind of inventions. And we should complete the text with the correct verb in the right form. The right form, it means that we need to use these verbs in the passive voice. The verbs are given at the bottom of the page. Base, базироваться, create, создавать, design, придумывать что-то, придумывать дизайн, discover, открыть, invent, изобрести, name, называть, use, использовать, write, писать что-то. And we should think of which verb to use in each of the spaces here. And actually, these are facts about different kind of inventions. And so this story is called like, did you know? Знаете ли вы что? So let us read the information. Medina, you start with the first piece of with the first paragraph.
The first beginning was.
Medina, will you read about? I mean, the first paragraph.
Text messaging was invented by the Finnish company Nokia. They wanted to help Finnish teenagers who were very shy. They found it easier to text their friends than to phone them.
Mm-hmm. You see, where is the verb in the passive voice?
Was invented.
Yes, it's interesting facts. То есть вот это рассылка сообщений именно компании Nokia была изобретена для финских тинейджеров, которые very shy, были очень стеснительными, и для них проще было что-то написать, чем сказать словами, да? And now it's very popular. Okay, so the second part, let us listen to Ilham.
The first bikini was designed, наверное, да? Designed by two Frenchmen. It was after bikini. It was что?
Ну, how is the name of bikini connected with? Why is it called bikini? Почему вот назвали их так?
It was named after Bikini Atoll, the island where the atomic bomb was first tested. The Frenchmen thought that the bikini would have a similar effect on men as the bomb exploding.
Yes, то есть атолл Бикини, на котором французы проводили испытания атомной бомбы. И вот такой же эффект произвело изобретение вот этих вот костюмов, да, минимальных костюмов на мужчин в данном случае. Like as a bomb exploding, как взрыв бомбы. Yes, and here we have two verbs in just passive voice, was designed and was named, right? So if we move to the next slide, we have a couple of more stories, and let's listen to the Niyar about the light bulbs. The Niyar, read
it. Light bulbs are created specially to last only a certain number of hours. it would be possible to make light bulbs that lasted forever, but then the manufacturers wouldn't make so much money.
So you think are created especially. Окей, то есть лампочки создаются специально to last, для того, чтобы существовать определенное количество часов. Было вообще возможно создать лампочки, которые lasted forever, которые бы существовали вечно, но производителям это невыгодно. Они бы не смогли делать деньги на этом. So this is called the built-in obsolescence or built-in or planned obsolescence, то есть встроенное устаревание продукта, который специально создан для того, чтобы через какое-то время устаревать или ломаться, и люди вынуждены покупать заново что-то. Окей. So, and the next part of the story is for Anton.
The first Harry Potter books was written in a cafe in Edinburgh. J.K. Rowling was unemployed and she didn't have enough money to pay for heating. So she wrote it in the cafe where it was warmer.
Yes, was written, you're right. То есть первая книга была написана в кафе в Эдинбурге, у нее не было unemployed, она была безработная, и не было денег для оплаты за отопление, поэтому она писала это в кафе, где было намного теплее. So it's very interesting. But this is a kind of an anecdote, but it's true. Okay, the passive voice is was written. You're right. Okay, and so about the pills here. Now let us listen to Rodion.
Although penicillin was discovered by Alexander Fleming, he didn't know how to make it into a medicine. It was first made into medicine 10 years later by an Australian scientist, Howard Florey.
Yes, was invented. Был изобретен Флемингом, но он не знал, как его применить в медицине. И впервые в медицине через 10 лет его применил ученый Howard Florey. Okay, and spiders. So let us listen to the information about spiders. Nurgali, please read it.
Spiders were used as a cure for toothache in the 17th century. They were first made into a paste and then put on the bad tooth.
Yes, were used as a cure for toothache. Слово не по правилам читается, toothache. Использовались в качестве лечения от зубной боли. Стирались в пасту и накладывали на больной зуб. So you can use, so this is the information interesting, how people just used to cure something in the past. Okay, and the passive voices were used. Yes, here. And the last piece of information, let us listen to Medina.
Sherlock Holmes, the great detective, was written by writer Arthur Conan Doyle. Holmes was based on a real person, Doyle's teacher at medical school, who was famous for saying to his students, "What can you tell me by just observing the patient?"
So I think it's better to use the verb create. Was created by right, yes? Okay, and was created, and what did you use in number 9? I missed it. Medina. Медина, number 9, yes. Что вы в 9 использовали?
Base.
Yes, was based, то есть основывается на реальном человеке. Okay? Yes. So this is the way we use the passive voice. And which fact is the most surprising for you? Which fact about what we've read is the most surprising?
The first book about Harry Potter was written in a cafe.
In a cafe. Any other ideas? For me, about a spider, that it was used like as a cure for toothache. It's just a surprise for me. Yes, so they are really interesting facts. And if we move to the next slide, and we need to make up sentences about something which is rather close to us. So the question is, can you think of a building in your town which was built more than 200 years ago? For example, if I think about Almaty, I think there are some buildings. There is a building on Zhebek-Joly Street. Now it's like a bank and a store, and it was built about 200 years ago in Zhebek-Joly Street. What about your town, your city? Rodion, do you know any buildings?
No, I don't know, because my town was built about 100 years ago.
So, are there any other ideas, Nurgali? Do you have any ideas about such buildings in your town?
No.
Петропавловске есть такие здания?
Возможно, есть, я не знаю точно.
I see. Okay, and if we have a look at the second sentence, Medina, read it, please.
A film which was directed by somebody from your country.
Yes. Can you think of any films? So who is interested in cinema? And famous films and just connected with the name of film director from Kazakhstan, Bekmambetov.
Yeah, я хотел сказать.
Yes. What is the name of the film?
Film President Lincoln was directed by Timur Bekmambetov.
Yes, very interesting fact, and we should be proud of this. Okay, so the next line, Pilham 3.
A competition which was won by a person or team from your country. Competition.
Соревнования.
Ну, соревнования именно олимпийские или?
No, just international competition.
Геннадий Головкин, the boxer. He's won a lot of не матч как-то, не знаю, как называется, что типа.
Yes, матч.
Fights.
Бокс тоже тоже можно назвать это матчем, в принципе.
Да?
Okay. Boxing matches. So, okay.
Илья Ильин даже.
Okay, so, and Ilyin, what kind of competition was it?
Powerlifting. Правильно?
I think it was the Olympic competition, yes?
Yes, Olympic competition.
Was won by Ilya Ilyin. But I see, I've heard, maybe I'm mistaken, but I've heard that there was a kind of scandal that he used doping.
Yes.
That is why he's not a champion now. Yes. So they took away their just gold medal. Okay, so sad. Okay, if we have a look at the next line, then year number 4.
Something which was invented by a person from your country. Oh.
Yes. Can we think of?
Не знаю.
Okay, so maybe we don't know much about these people, but I'm sure that if we do some kind of research, we can find the information about something which was invented by people from Kazakhstan. So do this research just to be proud of it. Okay, so the next one is for Anton, number 5.
Something which is made in your town region. Что
Производится в вашем городе.
Сейчас так my.
No, you give the name of this thing. Называйте вот это, а потом производится в моем городе.
Так. Как овощи, как
Vegetables.
Vegetables which made in my region.
Region. Так, vegetables имеет форму множественного числа. Это существительное во множественном числе. Поэтому будет не глагол to be в какой форме будет? Vegetables. Нет, в настоящем времени. Are. Vegetables are made.
Are made in my region.
Yes, good. Okay, so the next line is for Rodion.
A famous picture which was painted by somebody from your country. I don't know.
You should know, because you've been to Almaty, and in Almaty there is a famous art museum. Музей искусств есть в Алмате, and it's called Костеев Museum, yes, named after Костеев, назван в честь художника Костеева. And so he painted a lot of pictures about Kazakhstan. And when you are in Almaty, one more time, please visit this museum. Когда вы будете в городе, сходите в этот музей. For example, there is a picture which is called Medeo. На Медео называется картина. So this picture was painted by Костеев. Он довольно известный и хороший, знаменитый художник. Okay. And so the last is for Nurgali.
A famous dish which is eaten a lot in your town.
What is it?
Как надо ответить?
Famous dish, a lot of Kazakh dishes which are very famous. So you may choose any of them. What do you like? Is it yet, or is it vishbarmak, or is it what?
Vishbarmak is a famous dish which eaten a lot in my town.
For example, in the cities next, which are located next to Caspian Sea, there is fish barmak is very popular. Yes, is eaten. So, but I've never tried it. Fish barmak, с рыбой. Okay. Well, yes, this is the way we normally use the passive voice when we speak about something. And the home task for the next class will be on the site open.kaznu.kz. So this is the grammar task, and you should go to this site, pay attention to there are 2 Agilshintily courses on this site. Там 2 таких курса с такими картинками. Откройте, пожалуйста, действующий курс, да, который 25 января начался, потому что там есть еще один, который, ну, можно посмотреть в архиве. Я не знаю, работает он или нет, но мы откроем действующий курс. And you should complete module 7, which is about active and passive voice, and lesson 1 about active and passive voice. And you should watch the episodes and complete all the tasks and do all the tests, which are rather short. And don't forget that there should be task for lesson 1 with exercises. And as you remember, we should make the screenshot, 2 screenshots. One of the screenshots is the screenshot with your progress, like the bar chart, гистограмма должна быть with your name at the top, наверху ваше имя, и столбики такие должны быть. And the second screenshot is this, it will look like this, with the percentage of how many correct sentences you've made, and the percentage of correct score, сколько у вас было правильных в процентах. Вот второй скриншот должен быть. So, and I'll place the task, the grammar task on the Moodle site. Эту информацию на сайте Moodle я задание сделаю, и мы с вами можем эти задания выполнить. So, and yes, here it is. And we need to, so, do you have any questions? Вопросы есть? The deadline is, yes, the deadline is Friday.